Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. I'm Gustavo from Placker, and I'm very happy to share with you today some ideas and some insight about the Placker report view. Um, Let me know if you can hear me well in the chat so we can start. Is everything good with the audio and with the screen? And then we will get started. Well, I'm very happy to see a lot of people here today joining, people from some of you who already participated in the other webinar, some of you who are joining for the first time. So also to let you know, the recording will be available after the webinar. So if you want to share this with somebody from your team, feel free. And this webinar is also available in Portuguese and Spanish. If you speak those languages, let me know and I will make sure to send you the link. Okay, can you confirm in the chat if everything is good? And we will get started. Okay. Well, so for all of you who are new to Placker, it's a platform where you can plan your work, you can use your boards to plan your tasks, to plan projects or processes. It can also connect with other tools like Trello and Microsoft Planner, so that if you're using those tools and you want to include some features like reports, which we're going to talk about today, Gantt charts, mirrored cards, and all of those features, then we've got you covered. So today we're talking specifically about the reports, and we will do other webinars in other days about those other features. So stay tuned for that. Well, basically, I'm going to open a new board here in Placker. So, well, I believe most of you are familiar with the board view. You have the lists, you have the cards. In this case, I'm following a Kanban style board where I have new orders at the first column. Then they go from step 1, step 2, step 3 until they are completed, right? So we are essentially moving cards around to let everybody know uh, at which stage they are. And then after that, we have our process. So the Kanban board is very good to have details on your cards. You can see the card, the title of the card, who is the member responsible, the labels, the dates, but it doesn't really give you an overview, a statistical understanding of how many cards you have in which step, what is your production bottleneck, what members could be over allocated or not. So that's when the reports come in. So they will give you an understanding on your board based on the data that you already have. And there are two kinds of reports that you can create with Placker. One of them is a new report where you create it fully based on your own needs. And you also have the templates. So we have some suggested widgets that are useful for most of the Placker users. And you can use them, or you can start with a template and adapt according to your needs. And I'm going to show you one of them today. So to add a template, you can click Add View and click Explore More Views. And there are many options here. We have many categories. So the one I want to show you today is Kanban process. So this is a template that is recommended when you are using reports based on a process like the one that I'm showing you as an example. Well, let me take a step back here because there might be some of you using Trello, for example. If you're using Trello and you don't see the reports, well, you can open placker.com and sign in with your Trello account. You will see all your boards here. That's the easiest way to get to your Placker interface. Or you can also install the Placker power-ups. If you install projects by Placker, for example, or reports by Placker, you will see a shortcut showing you how to click the report. So you can open it inside Trello, okay? Although I really recommend you open placker.com because then you will have a bigger screen. So here the report looks a bit small, while if you use Placker, then you have the full screen available for your report. Okay, so let's see the Kanban report. It basically consists of many widgets. The ones at the top are text widgets, so they give you instructions on how to use this widget. And below you will have some charts, some indicators, where you can see exactly where your cards, what are the status of your project, what are the lists. In this case, we have this bar chart showing how many cards we have on each list. We have how many cards we have by status. So for example, in this case, we have 2 cards in step 1, 2 cards in step 2, 3 cards in step 3. But in total, we have 7 cards who have started. So that's gives us an idea of our work in progress. It also has a card table where you can see the details of your work in progress. So for example, I know that I have 7 cards, but I want to know what are those cards and what is pending on each card, who are the members responsible so I can take action. Okay, so these are my 7 cards. As you remember, on our board we have the new orders A, B, and C. So these are not work in progress. They are not shown in that table. They only start showing D, E, G, F. So that's why we don't see those cards in the table. We are focusing only on the cards that have started. Okay, so we have card D with 14%. The member responsible is Karen, and there is also a traffic light, yellow, meaning that there are some observations, some notes on this card. We have card E, which is 12%, and the traffic light is red, so there might be some problems. Card F, 28%, traffic light is green, so everything's okay. So the card table gives you a more detailed view of the cards. And you can interact with this table. So you can sort it by title, you can sort it by progress to see the ones that are almost completed and focus on those. You can also group it by member, so you can see what are the cards that each member is responsible for. So those are some options here in the card table. Well, okay, so as I mentioned, we have only the started cards. And we did that by creating a filter. So one thing you can do for your reports is create filters, either for the whole report, for the whole section, or for only one widget. So for the widgets on top, we want to have more of a general view of the whole board. But for the card table, we want to have a view only of the cards that are in progress so we can find the bottlenecks of our board. So I'm going to show you every time you want to change something, you can click edit report here at the top right. This will put you in the edit mode, and then you will be able to click any of those widgets and see all the settings here at the right panel. So you can see that I have added a status here, and the status shows me that I have only selected to see started, paused, and blocked cards. I don't see any completed cards. I don't see any open cards, only work in progress, okay? So that's good if you want to focus on the cards that are ongoing and not see all the cards on the project, okay? So yeah, basically that's one of our templates. You can, as I said, customize it as you like. So for example, if for you, you are not using traffic light on your boards, you don't want to see that, that's okay. You can click edit and remove that column. You can click the columns. You can deselect the traffic light, and you can include whatever information is important on your project. So for example, if you are using labels, you can enable labels to the card table, and then there it is. You can see the colors and the labels that you have added for each card. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to create your own report. Okay, so if you want to start from scratch, you can also add a new view. As you can see, we have many tabs here. So we have the board tab, the command process tab. We have also the Gantt tab, which is a very interesting view, which is not the topic today, but just to highlight that. But you can click add view and click report empty. This will give you an empty report where you have only one text widget. Okay, so this is the empty report. You can also add it, so that text widget, you can remove it if you like. If you can click and delete, or you can add it and use this as a placeholder for information on your report. Like for example, let's call this lead time report, and we can add a text here which will be visible for everybody who opens this report. So I'm going to say this report will show us how long cards are taking to be completed. Okay, some other things that we can change here in this widget are the dimensions. So as you can see, now that I have a very short text, um, it's very high, so we don't need all this size for this small text. We can change the height from 2 to 1. So there it is. Now we have more space for the other widgets. And you can also add some formatting here. So as it says below, you can use Markdown to style the text area. So Markdown is it's kind of it's like a programming language, but you can add like those formatting like this. So show us how long cars are taking. We could make this bold so that you have some formatting going. Okay. We won't get into details of Markdown, but if you type in Google Markdown syntax, you will see how to use bold or italic and everything. Anyway, let's talk about the number reports. So we have another widget, which is the single value widget. So the single value widget will show you by default the number of cards you have on your board. Okay, so I just created this widget. It shows me that I have 13 cards on the board. Well, I would like, instead of seeing the number of cards on the board, I want to see how long the cards are taking from start to completion. Okay, for this, I'm going to change the attribute from number of cards. I am going to select instead lead time. So lead time is a measure of time, and you can select what you consider the lead time of your board. In this case, I will select, instead of actual start date, not all cards have an actual start date in my case, I'm going to select planned start date and planned end date, which are exactly the start and the end dates from Trello, if you're using Trello. And I want a mean or an average of those, of all the lead times of all the cards on this board. So the lead time, the average lead time for me is 8.56 days. This is how long, in average, the cards take to be completed. Okay. Well, you might be thinking, well, this may be a bit vague because we have a lot of orders. Some of them are more complex, some of them are less complex. We have a lot of different team members. Some of those members are faster, some of those are slower. So that's when you can really dig into the details. And I recommend installing other widgets. Like, for example, you could add a bar chart where you will see the cards broken down by member. In this case, I can see the number of cards per member. Like James has 3 cards, Karen has 4 cards, Robert has 3, and so it goes. And I can also edit this to see the lead type per member, just like we saw for the whole board. So the group attribute here, actually the value is going to be lead time, and I have now the lead time split by member. There it is. So James takes an average 9 days to complete his cards, Karen takes 8.83, Robert, Susan, and then I can see the average for each member, which gives me more details. Okay? And of course, if you want to see the card table, you can also add a card table widget. I already showed you how that works. You can add the columns, including the lead time. So you can add whatever columns are more interesting for you and more relevant to your project. Okay, so these are some of the widgets that help you understand the time that it's taking for the cards to be completed. There are also other areas where the reports can give you insight, and one of them, for example, is the capacity planning. So how many hours of work each member has assigned to themselves. This helps you understand if the work is balanced for all the members, if there are any over allocations, or if they are going to handle all the work that is needed. So what we're going to do is we're going to create another section. So we already have this section, which will be related to lead time metrics, and we will add a new section below. We're going to call this capacity planning. And here we are going to add all the widgets related to that. So we can add a description widgets that show us what is the workload on this project. Okay. The good thing about adding a description is that when you save it and when you share this report with somebody, those members will be able to hover the mouse and see what is described there. So if you don't want to add a text widget for instructions or for clarifications, you can just add a description, and whenever you hover the mouse, everybody will know exactly what you mean by capacity planning or the title of this section. Okay, so that's a good thing about the descriptions. And now let me show you some widgets. So first of all, you can add, you could add a bar chart, but instead of showing the cards by member, you can see the hours of work by member. And this is by changing the value. So instead of cards, I'm going to put effort. So this is the sum, this is the total amount of days worked if we sum all the cards that the members are working on. Okay, so you can see the total of hours per member. Okay, so this is a bar chart. If you prefer to use another format, you could use, for example, a pie chart, which is similar. It's also based on the category of members, but it's going to show you uh, the split of work across your boards. So it's up to you if you prefer the bar chart or the pie chart. You can also add a line chart. So the line chart is usually more common when you're talking about time. You can also use it to show the effort per member, of course, but usually we could group, instead of by member, we could group it by date, so you could see how many cards you have planned to deliver by month, or if it's a short-term project like this one, I could show it by week, and I see exactly how many cards I am going to deliver every week. So here it is. Okay, so I can see how many cards each member is working on. I can see how many tasks we have planned for each week. But what if I want to cross those two units? Okay, so I want to see how many tasks I'm working on per week, but I will also want to see how many, what are the members working on these cards? Because maybe one member is working at the start and another member is working at the end of the project, and I want to know how they are assigned. So I can edit the report, I can add a new widget, and For this, I'm going to use the stacked bar chart. So the stacked bar chart, it shows a row attribute, which is the member, and a column attribute, which is the plan date per week. Let's see how it looks. So we have 2 cards planned for week 21, and I can see by the colors that both of those cards are assigned to Susan. So Susan, if I hover the mouse, I can also see that. So Susan is doing those cards. Then at week 22, I have only 1 card, and this card is delivered by Robert. Then we have another card by Susan and a card by Karen. And week 24 is the most busy, probably. And then we go to the end of the planned cards. Okay, so this gives you an overview of both members and time. So that's also a very interesting chart to have. And the last widget that I want to show you is one very similar, but it shows you in a different format. So if you also want to see the cards per week and per member, you could also use a pivot table. So the pivot table is going to also cross those two attributes, member and end date, but it's going to show you the numbers instead. So for example, if I'm looking at the cards assigned to James, I can see that he doesn't have any work to deliver on week 21, week 22, and 23, but on week 24, he has 24, no, not 24, 2 cards that he's going to deliver on that date, okay? And also good to mention that all the widgets in the report view are, you can interact with them. So you can click, so, okay, I'm curious to see what are those 2 cards that James is working on. So I can click it. I can click exactly those 2 cards. And then I have the data below showing that those cards are card E and card G. Okay, so those are the cards. If I click the card, so card G, for example, I can click it and I can see the card overview. I can see all the details here. I can add comments. I can ask what is the status. So yeah, the report is going to give you both the overview, but if you want to get into the details, you can always click and interact with the widgets, okay? So that's a very powerful tool, as you can see. You can create, of course, your own widget. My idea today is only to give you some examples. And once you're done creating your report, it's time to share it with your colleagues and with your stakeholders. And there are basically 2 ways that you can do that. You can either export to a file. Okay, so you can click export. And then you can click export report. This will immediately create a PDF file, which you can download and send it, or you can print it. But you can also create an automation. So for example, if you don't want to go to the report every time and export, but instead you want to receive this report in your email every Monday, for example, that's possible. You can create a new automation, select the date and time that you want to receive, like for example 9 a.m. every Monday. You could, as an idea, you could receive a report showing all the tasks that you have planned to deliver this week that are assigned to yourself. So that's a good way of having a reminder of your tasks every week. You could create a custom report to do that for you. Okay. Well, okay, so my report is ready. I can click, I can download, and there it is. Another option to share your report with somebody else, and I actually recommend this method, which is to simply copy and send the URL of this report. The good thing about sending the URL is that the person that is receiving will be able to open the report, and they will see the data in real time. Because, for example, if I sent this PDF and the person only opens it maybe 2 days later, it could happen that the data changes and that everything, the report doesn't look the same anymore. We have updates. So if they open the URL, they will open it in real time, and the data will be pulled immediately from your Trello board or from your Placker board, and then it will be an easy way for everybody to open the report. So uh, I recommend sharing the report like this. It is required for the person to have a Placker account and to be added to the board to have access, but there are many advantages of doing it this way. Okay. All right. So these are the topics that I wanted to show you today. Let me know if you have any questions. I will be happy to clarify those right now. If you prefer to send it to me later, you can also click the chat button below. We have our support team ready to help you. If you click messages, and then you can send us a new message. And we also have our help center. So if you go to help.placker.com, we have an article explaining every single widget. So if there's any widget that I didn't show you today, or if there is one that you would like to have more details, you can go to our report view section here. Then you will see all the report widgets. You can click and you can read more about every single one of those. Okay. All right. So thank you again for taking the time to learn more about the report view. And stay tuned, because we will send you the invites for the next webinars. Also, let us know what are the most important features for you, so that we plan accordingly. And it was great to share those ideas with you today. I will see you the next time. Have a great day, everyone.